Hey, and welcome to the Better Empowered Girl Talk series. On today's series, we're going to talk about the top 3 reasons every professional woman needs mental strength. Have you ever heard the saying that you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have? And that goes true with professional women and having mental strength to get through the obstacles and the struggles and the barriers that keep you from leveling up. And I can remember, like when I was in my late 20s, I graduated from college. I was on my quest for getting my teacher certifications, and I failed the test 5 times. I failed that English teaching certification test 5 times. Oh, I was devastated every time after I took that test. I mean, I felt defeated. I felt like I just went to school for all those years and couldn't even recall the information to pass the test. I felt defeated. And not to even mention that after I failed my teaching certification test 5 times, guess what? I developed that mental strength and I took it that last time and passed it. But guess what? Those barriers and those roadblocks didn't stop, because after I passed that teaching certification test finally, and then I got certified, and then my next quest was to find a teaching position. Oh my goodness, I can remember the overwhelm. I can remember the frustrations of not being able to find a job or be hired, interview after interview after interview. And guess what? I will never forget the one time, the one opportunity, and I can see it as vividly as if it was yesterday, when I was interviewing at my first school that I got hired at, Smith Middle School. And the principal's name was Miss Baptiste. I will never forget this lady because she gave me my first opportunity into the world of teaching when everybody else just kept giving me no's and no's and no's. I remember that day so vividly. We were sitting down, we were interviewing, and she may have been able to see the defeat over my face when the interview looked like it wasn't going so well. And she just looked at me because I'm pretty sure I gave her my story of how many times I've interviewed and how many times I've been given no's. And she looked at me and she said, "You know what? I'm going to give you a chance." Oh, the relief of that overwhelm. But I had to be mentally strong to finally get that one yes after multiple no's after no's after no's. And as a professional woman, you have to have that mental strength to overcome those barriers and obstacles that you will face, because it's inevitable not to face those barriers and obstacles. If you're trying to level up and have more success, you will face those barriers. So you have to be mentally strong to overcome those barriers. And when she told me yes, but guess what? She told me with that, I'm going to need 110% of your abilities to help with teaching these kids. And guess what? I didn't only give her 110%, I gave her 120% and above and beyond. But that mental strength, if I hadn't went to that one extra job interview after being defeated time and time again, I never would have gotten my one yes that pivoted my career, that pivoted me to leveling up, and pivoted me to being the successful professional woman that I am today. And guess what? You can do it too, ladies. Just because you get a lot of yeses and then you get some no's, that's not time to stop. You have to have the mental strength. And how do you do that? There are times when you struggle with turning challenges into growth. It's inevitable. And if you're trying to be successful, that's okay. You're supposed to have challenges, because if you have a challenge, guess what that means? That means you're on the right path. Anytime you have a barrier that's keeping you from your next leveling up, that is the sign that you are on your right level and your right path to leveling up into growth. Challenges need to come, because when there's challenges, I grow, but I have to have the mental strength to overcome those challenges. And guess what? Some people can't take defeat. Is that you? Are you one of the people who can't take defeat? But guess what? You don't just crumble. You don't roll over. Some people, they don't even want to get out of the bed. Sometimes they feel so defeated. But when you have mental strength to overcome any obstacle, guess what? You feel better when you're empowered. And that's what this series is about. It's helping you be better empowered. And today, mental strength, mental toughness is one of the reasons why professional women need to level up and get what they need out of life, because it's there for you. And what about when you're having those peak performances? Sometimes you feel like you have to use all of your mental power all the time, but you don't, because you're depleted. And it's overwhelming, it's draining when you use your mental strength all the time. So you use those mental strengths when you need it for that peak performance. So don't use it on those little tasks. You know, those little tasks, you should just be coasting through those little tasks, like things that you do on a regular basis. You should just be coasting through those things. But when you need to kick in your mental strength is when you have that peak performance moment. Perhaps you're trying to get a raise. That's time that you let that mental strength and that mental toughness kick in, that peak performance. Maybe it's when you're trying to apply for a bonus. Maybe you're trying to petition to your employer that you need a vacation, but they've been cutting vacation time, so you don't feel like you'll get it. That's when you need to have that mental toughness. How about when you're with your family and you're overwhelmed because you have to do this for the kids, and you have to do everything for your husband? That takes mental strength. And you need to save it for those peak performances. It's okay not to use your mental power all the time. That's being smart. That's using your mental strength to your advantage. That's using your mental toughness to your advantage. You coast through those normal everyday routines, and then when it's time to ask for that level up moment, that's when you kick that mental strength into gear. And what about when you need some bounce back? Because guess what? When you hit that barrier, that roadblock, guess what? You either need to bounce back or you're going to get rolled over. But mental strength and mental toughness allows you to have that bounce back. Because when you hit those tough times and when you hit those no's after no after no, you have to be able to bounce back every time you get that no, because eventually that no will turn into a yes. But if you're weak and you don't want to get out the bed, you don't want to keep going, you don't see the yes behind those no's, guess what? You're going to let that yes fly into the air because you wasn't mentally tough enough to keep going. And that's the lifestyle of a professional woman. Guess what? If you're a professional woman and you want to continue leveling up from wherever you are at now, you have to kick in that mental toughness. Because if you think that it's supposed to just be easy, then you're not doing the right things. If you think the next level is easy, that means you're not leveling up enough. You have to be empowered. Ladies, you are better when you are empowered. This is what I want you to do. I want you to develop a routine that gets you up and running during the times when you feel defeated. Defeat is inevitable. Everybody feels defeated. It doesn't mean you're less successful. It doesn't mean you're less capable of doing what you need to do to level up. It just means that you are on the right path. Because when that resistance comes, that means that's the right way to go. And so you need to develop a routine to help you get up and running. Yes, sometimes you don't feel like getting out of the bed, but guess what can help? Turn up your favorite music. Sometimes people like listening to gospel music. That'll help them up and running. Sometimes people like to listen to rap music. That'll get them up and running. They have their favorite artist, their favorite podcast. Whatever it is, you need to have a routine to help you get up and running when you feel like your mental toughness is needing to be crumped up and put into gear. Sometimes you can journal. Journal out your frustrations, your fears, your worries, your doubts. Journal what you're going to do to get to your next level. Because when you see it, it's more real. But when you try to keep things inside of your head, inside of your mind, guess what? It mixes all in with the good and the bad, and then it's a hard time to distinguish between the good and the bad. So you have to do things to empower yourself. Sometimes you might not feel like getting out of the bed, or you might not feel like you have enough strength or toughness to get through an obstacle, guess what? Do some jumping jacks. Get your adrenaline running. Get your blood flowing and pumping. That's developing that toughness to keep going, to empower yourself to say, you know what? No matter what obstacle I may be faced with, or may become before me, I have the mental toughness, the mental mindset that I'm not going to let anything keep me from my next level of success. Guess what? You are your best asset if you build you right. But it takes building. And no matter what level of success you are at, guess what, ladies? True professional women who are trying to get to that next level never stop growing and using themselves as an asset. Will we love a great support system? Absolutely. But most of the time, a great support system is not even a reality for professional women because everybody's looking at you to be the support system. So that leaves you without a support system. So who's your support system? You. And mentally, physically, emotionally, you have to be tough and strong enough to overcome any obstacle that's before you because you don't want to let yourself down. You don't want to let your career down. You don't want to let your family down. And you don't want to let your next level of success down because you should never stop striving for more and more and more because you are better when you are empowered. And guess what? I know today has been a blessing to so many of you women out there and men if you choose to watch. But guess what? It's not the end. The Better Empowered Girl Talk series is going to be for the next few weeks, every Monday at 1 p.m. And I want you to tune in because if you think today was awesome and awe-inspiring and help to get you up and running and thinking about your next level, guess what the next couple of weeks are going to be? They're going to blow your mind because we are here together to empower each other as professional women. We are here together as a community to continue leveling up because there is no glass ceiling when it comes to a professional woman. We're going to bust through them, break through them, and continue striving for more and more and more. But guess what? You have to have that mental toughness to break through that glass ceiling. So what I want you to do is I want you to connect and subscribe because sometimes I know this series and this girl talk show is at 1 o'clock and a lot of times people work. But guess what? You can watch the rerun. You can rewatch the episode. You can subscribe and get an alert of when the next episode is because you do not want to miss the next few weeks of the Better Empowered series. So connect, subscribe, comment, like, share, whatever it is that you need to do so that together as a community of professional women, hey, we're going to level up together because it takes a village to raise a woman. And next week on our Better Empowered series, we're going to talk about self-care because that's the number one thing that professional women let go is themselves. They don't want to take care of themselves or they don't see the need to take care of themselves because you're so busy taking care of everybody and everything else. Okay, so this has been an awesome time of talking about mental toughness and mental strength. Go back and rewatch because you probably missed some little golden nuggets because some of those other nuggets you probably just had to sit there and think about. But I want you to think about turning your challenges into growth, using your mental toughness at peak performance times. And I want you to think about how you can bounce back during those times when you have those setbacks. Because guess what? If you don't bounce back, you're going to get rolled over. And that is not an option for professional women. So I'm going to see you next week for the Better Empowered series, 1 p.m. every Monday. Don't forget to connect and subscribe. We are on Facebook, Instagram. We get a lot of inspirational quotes, videos, everything you need to help you have your well-rounded professional life and balance so that you can continue leveling up. Thank you for tuning in. This is Virginia Manning for Girl Talk with Virginia, and I'll see you next week where we dive into self-care. And remember, ladies, you are better empowered, and it is time to level up. See you next week.